Pittsburgh Steelers fans, what's going on? I'm Wesley Seeley, joined alongside Shane Smith. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Steelers win, man.
3 in a row.
3 straight. Let's go. And against the Brownies. And the Browns
He's the Browns.
The Browns. I love it. 15-10 final score. Wasn't super exciting, but at the same point it was because it was against an AFC North opponent.
Absolutely. It was a little lackluster points-wise and maybe yards-wise and all of that, but no, it was nice because of who we were playing and just all of the crap we were hearing all week. And, honestly, I thought this game could go either way, and it, potentially could have. But it's nice to roll in 3 straight. We got, hopefully not playing down to our opponents, but we got 2 easier opponents coming in.
Yep.
And so this was a test that a lot of teams and a lot of people had taken us out of, and it feels great.
It feels nice.
It feels great to know that Baker stinks.
Yep. Maybe they are. Maybe the Browns fans are still thinking they wish Keenum would have suited up and played. Guess we'll never know. But I agree. It wasn't too flashy. It wasn't a lot of points were scored in this matchup, but it was an AFC North brawl. Hard hitting. Both teams ran the ball pretty well, and just a physical game, and that's kind of what we thought it was going to be. But like you said, it was one that could have gone either way, and thankfully we were on the right side of it. So
absolutely.
I guess diving right into our offense, man. What'd you take away from the offense for this game?
We got back to what I want us to do more.
Yeah.
More run the ball.
Yeah.
And then, let Ben throw it as a secondary option kind of thing. And it was nice because there was a couple of plays where, Ben for one, went and did a fake toss.
Yeah,
and
I like that.
All of them bit. And then he just, had a little dump pass. And it was man, that's nice to see. You can tell our running game's getting on track because a team actually bit on something like that. And we were able to do something instead. That was something that we typically don't do.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of nice to see. I enjoyed seeing Freiermuth a lot. I think he did very well. I think Gentry did very well.
Yeah.
I think, in all honesty, if somebody calls us up and says we need tight end help, we should be more than willing to get rid of Ebron.
At this point.
Our line definitely is still continuing to make the right strides. Chooks, I still am not sure why we're starting him on the right side. I still think he's mistake prone. Maybe didn't give up a lot of pressures, but I also feel our Freiermuth and Gentry, when they did play, also lined up more to the right of him to kind of take a chip block on Clowney or whatever, which left Dan Moore one-on-one many, many times with Garrett, which he did okay, but it was still kind of oh my God.
Yeah.
But we did everything we had to. We weren't necessarily flashy or, huge plays a few of our wins, it feels have been because of, but I just think we did what we needed to, and we grinded out, and we ended up winning time of possession. Geez,
wow.
It was, I think, the first quarter, I think we had one drive, and it was 3 minutes long or something. The Browns took up the rest of it, and I was man, that's
not good.
Yeah, if that's the case, our defense is, not gonna. They're going to be gassed out by the fourth quarter, and I think we ended up with 31 and a half minutes worth of time of possession. So it just shows what the running game helps. It helps our defense, and it tires their defense out to help us open up late in game.
Yeah. I think we both talked on the preview was we just wanted them to get back to a physical running game like they had. Mostly in that Broncos game. We mostly established it in that game because I think that was Najee's first over 100-yard game.
Yeah.
And they did okay in the Seahawks game, did a little bit of it, kind of died off in the second half there. But, yeah, after the bye here, we thought, getting fresh bodies, offensive line, getting everybody fresh again, having a chance to recuperate would just help us get back to maybe that tough physical running game. And they did. I feel like they did a good job at establishing the run. And we kind of assumed that they would be slow coming out of the gate, and I feel like offensively we were. We weren't doing hot.
Right.
I think Ben had 74. I think the stat popped up 74 passing yards in the first half, and then I don't know what he had in the second.
He ended with 266.
Okay.
So like 190 something.
Yeah, that sounds about right then. Yeah, I think it's 190 something he had in the second half there. But yeah, I was glad that the line really. I mean, Romo pointed it out in commentating this game. He pointed out numerous times. He was just impressed how the line was getting after those guys, those front interior guys, making holes for Najee and pushing some guys over. I was like, that's really encouraging to see these young guys making that like this progress. When you look back to week 1 and then start like making our way through these weeks now on week 8, it's like, man, we've actually shown a lot of progression so far this year, which is super encouraging.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. You don't want it to continue to be bad week after week after week.
Yep.
And the one thing I did see that I was really happy to see was when Najee got hit late out of bounds.
Yeah.
It was Kendrick Green, number 53, came over and started arguing with the Browns people, finally starting to show that fire when something, happens to your offensive playmakers.
Right, no kidding.
And that's what you want to see, because that should fire up the rest of the people.
Yep.
And I'm glad we showed that fire, too, especially after Tomlin's press conference.
Yeah. Little fiery, dude. Yeah, the running game was great. And like you said, Freiermuth was awesome. I think he proved that he can be the number 1 tight end for us. I don't think we need to worry about really Ebron anymore, to be completely frank. Deontay and Chase, James Washington, they really weren't a factor in this game. I mean, really, until Deontay's late catch, but even that was kind of just a gimme. And like they just weren't. I mean, I think it was late third, early fourth. I was just like, where is Deontay? Where's Chase been this whole game? It's like they've been just so non-factored. And I don't know if that was the game plan or what was up with that. They just weren't getting open, but I feel like Deontay was getting a lot of targets, just not a lot of openings for him.
Yeah, he was definitely. Was it Greedy on him?
I think Greedy was on him. That Newsome, their rookie corner, was on him.
And I mean, they played him very tight. There was a couple of balls that I feel like they may not count as a drop because I mean he was being wrapped around.
Yeah.
But there was a couple that like hit him in the gloves, and I was like, man, if he just tucks it, it's a catch and maybe continuing the drive or a shorter third or something like that. So I personally would count them as like drops or whatever. Especially since they hit him in the gloves and it wasn't like they came in and knocked him out.
Right.
But, I mean, when it came to matter and we really needed that one first down to kind of ice the game, we were able to do it.
Yeah.
So, and this was all, pretty much, unless you were far away, having to go for it on fourth down.
Yeah. Exactly.
Continually because of that. So
I was also going to say real quick before we get to grades too, I just thought I thought Ben played a pretty good game too in this game. Like there was one bad throw that I think Roma pointed out where he circled it, where like there was 3 guys.
Three Browns guys.
3 guys there, and I was like, what was he doing? Why? Yeah. What was he looking at there?
Super lucky the 2 Browns guys went and collided together.
Yeah. So other than that throw, I don't know if there was another one that really scared me too bad. I feel like he was making pretty good decisions, making pretty good reads, doing a good job at. I thought the play calling was pretty good, too, to go along with it. Like you said, that fake pitch out that was, drew everybody to the opposite side. He rolled out and hit Deontay on the sideline for a nice gain. I just thought it was good, well executed, and just for the most part, other than that one he threw into basically triple coverage. Pretty good reads, I might have been his best game I've seen so far this season. So
yeah,
it was good. So what's your grade for the offense for today's game?
Grade for the offense. I'm not going to give them a perfect score because they definitely weren't perfect, but they've done more things to make me say that they're more than average. So I'm going to go with just a flat B on this one. They did a lot, but like you said, some of the wide receivers seemed non-existent, whether it was the game plan or how it was drawn up. And, we did only score 15. But, we did enough to win. So that's the important thing. We kept the clock and kept their defense on to wear them down. So I'll go with a solid B.
That's why I was going to ask you what your grade is first, because then I can always one up you. So I'm going B+. I think like a lot with you said, they did enough. And whereas it wasn't too flashy with 15 points, we didn't mention that the Browns' rushing defense was number 1. Well, number 1 ranked is pretty solid to run. Najee had 91. What do we have as a team?
As a team, we had 115 yards.
115 rushing yards, 91 from Najee. I just feel like that's really good, especially coming from us, which weeks 1 through 3 were really lackluster running the ball, and
we were lucky to get like 50 yards.
Yeah, exactly. And we were just like, man, when's Najee going to break 100? And just to come in to Cleveland, play against a team that was all fired up to come in and beat us and smack us in the mouth again. And their defense has been really solid, really lights out for the most part. The rush defense was number 1, and I just feel like we did a really good job at just coming in and sticking to our guns and just, hey, we're going to run it right at these guys. Number 1 defense, rushing defense, I don't care. We're just going to run it right at them. So I thought it was good that we established that. So I really liked that. And then, like I said, Ben did enough. I think he did pretty good job, serviceable job today. Really no turnovers on offense too. Right. So that was another great thing too. So I think this is his 3rd game in a row with no turnovers, and we've won all 3. So I have to go back and check that, but I'm pretty positive that's what I saw. So yeah, I'll go B+ on that one. As far as our defense,
MVPs.
Oh yeah, MVP for offense. What do you think?
I'll give you the most obvious one. I'm going to take Pat.
I was actually going to go Pat too. How about that?
I figured I'd save your favorite player. I mean, he made that great grab. I mean, that was tightly contested. He toe tapped it.
Concentration. Yeah, it looked a lot like Deontay's in the Buffalo game.
Yeah,
it was like a juggle, and then he had to get his feet in. It was beautiful.
I mean, great game, great blocker. I enjoy Pat. I think it's a great, pick that a lot of people really aren't talking about, and looking wonderful.
Yeah.
So.
Ebron who?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I was honestly going to go Pat. I just think he did a great job at stepping in and doing the number 1 role, and I think we all knew he could do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Step in. I mean, not that there was a lot of big shoes to fill from Ebron. But the dude made another nice catch. I think he faked somebody out. As soon as he caught it, he turned on the sideline, faked somebody out, and then ran it for
the 23-yard gain. Yep.
Yeah, great play there too. Just like heads-up play, just making a play when we needed a play, and especially that touchdown grab. What a snag, and in a moment we needed it too. So yeah, heck of a job to him. Najee too, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
Najee,
we can both make both of those guys are MVPs.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of co-MVP for sure. Yeah, Najee definitely gets it. And I feel like we give it to him a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's proven why he was the first round pick, and I know a lot of people gave us a lot of crap, but it's working for us. And so, you know what? The haters can hate, but it's working for us, and we're doing what we need to do.
The dude works his tail off every game too. It's like
you seriously, like, even watching the Browns, who are pretty good tacklers, and I know they were missing Owusu Koromora, who could have definitely changed the game, but I'd see a guy like go to hit Najee, and he'd just kind of shrug him off, like honestly, like they didn't exist.
Yeah.
And that turned from a no gain to a 3 or 4 or the first down, and it's like, that guy, every game is churning for yards, and always either making the first guy miss or
he is, man,
always breaking the first tackle. I mean, he just does a spectacular job with it. And then another one that I'll give credit to, I don't like to because I still don't think he's that great. I'm going to give one to Dan Moore.
Okay, that's fair.
Just because a lot of the game he was one-on-one with Garrett, and there wasn't a lot of people chipping, or if it was like, okay, Najee chip and then kind of goes out for a little pass, or McFarland, who honestly, McFarland's like a tiny little ant compared to Garrett. Moore only gave up 1 sack. I think Garrett probably hit Ben 3 or 4 times. So, I mean, that's why it's not a perfect MVP grade, but for a one-on-one thing and the sack leader of the NFL to only get 1 sack and, really wasn't a super big disrupting force for us, I have to give the guy, at least
some
good
recognition. Yeah, I agree, because as far as Garrett, we had said he was my game changer, X factor for their defense, and he, other than his 1 sack, I don't really remember. I think he had maybe a tackle for a loss on McFarland, but he just didn't seem like a factor or big factor in this game that I thought he was changing the game for us or for them. So yeah, I agree, man. Dan Moore had a heck of a game. I feel like giving up 1 sack to a player like that is pretty remarkable. So good for him. A rookie up against a guy like that, that's a tough task.
That's a very tough task.
Okay, now on to the defense.
Yes.
Defense to me, I was a little bit at first. I was not feeling it.
Right. We had our spurts.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. We had some spurts because I think those first couple drives, they almost were running it, passing it, really whatever. You
doing
were
whatever they wanted. It was third and 6, 3rd and 7, and it was like all of a sudden we were playing a deep zone, and here's a 12-yard catch.
Right in the gap. Yeah, it was pretty easy.
No pressure.
Yeah, really no pressure. I feel like they started to tighten up after those first couple drives, though. They started to tighten up, maybe started to game plan around what the Browns were doing, implement some different packages. But they were starting to get some more pressure on him. They were starting to get at least in there on him because I think they had, 4 sacks in the first half?
And that's what we ended the game with.
Wow. So they went off in that first half, I guess, towards the end of it. But, yeah, it was definitely kind of just up and down, kind of a roller coaster ride for the defense. I would say majority of the game I was pretty pleased with what they did, especially because we were like, man, this Browns team has the number 1 rushing attack in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they're going to come in and try to do on us here. And we really did pretty stout. I think what did Chubb end up with? 40?
61. The Browns 60? As a team ended with 96. Chubb had 61. Johnson, D. Johnson.
Yeah, D'Ernest, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I always think Duke.
Oh, yeah.
22. Landry had 5. Mayfield had 5. And Felton had 3.
Wow.
So, I mean, not a whole lot.
No.
And at one point, I think going into the fourth, Chubb was at 47 yards rushing.
Yeah.
And so we did it right. We did. Which was crazy because I think you and I have been saying, like, man, the Steelers are labeled at, like, the top 10 in rush defense, and we don't see how.
No.
Today was the day that I seen how, because I think the Browns average like 160 or 170 a game or something like that is throughout the year.
Something ridiculous like that.
And so it's like to hold them to under 100 as a team, let alone their number 1 rusher, to 16 carries and 61 yards with a 3.8 average. Like, I was ecstatic for that.
Yeah. And that's what we need to do is stop the run and make him rely on Baker. And I think that's what they had to do towards the end of the game.
Right, exactly. And I mean, I've said it before, and I know I shouldn't say all Browns fans, but most Browns fans think, Baker can bring a team back into the fold. Baker's a game manager. He is like Ben is now. Ben is a game manager, not a game changer. And that's exactly what Baker was. It wasn't like the Steelers were only up 3 and all Baker had to do was get him in field goal range. He got him in field goal range just fine a couple of times. He could not punch the last 20 yards in to get him to score. Credit to our defense, but also a credit to just Baker not being a game changer. And because we stopped their game changers, it definitely put the struggle on him, and he just can't do it.
Yep. Yeah, overall I was pretty pleased. I mean, if I can skip right to the grades, I'm going to give him a B+, and that's because we can, you and I can nitpick all day long on defense. Yeah. But if you look at the big picture, held him to 10 points.
Right.
Held him to under 100 rushing yards.
Yep.
And got 4 sacks and 1 turnover.
Yeah, 225 passing yards.
Yeah, that's stout. Like
under 400 total yards.
Overall, the big picture, I'm very pleased with that performance. Going into Cleveland, a very stacked team. I know they were missing some pieces, but even their backups are solid too. I mean, their team is a very well-rounded roster. So to hold them to 10 points, hold them to under 100 rushing yards and under basically 250 passing yards. That's pretty solid.
Yep.
So
absolutely. No, I think B+ is a great thing. 4 sacks, under 100. Baker, not letting him really, honestly, a whole lot get out of the pocket to add that extra element in. We did things right. There was just some hiccup drives where we allowed things, and it just seemed like they marched right up the field. But then it seemed like we tightened the screws a little bit, and some of our other guys came to play. I know Hayward went out for a few plays, and they put Loudermilk in.
Yeah. And
at first I was nervous, and then Loudermilk was playing pretty good.
Yeah,
and
he was.
It was nice to see those extra key parts come in. It was nice to see Schobert, come in and make a play. It was nice to see as a collective effort what we did as a team.
Yeah.
So
and Odell, 1 catch for 6 yards, and I didn't even know if he was healthy for this game. Like it was like third or fourth quarter. I was like, "Where's Odell? Where's he been?"
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's another tough task to do, and we held him in check too. So
Yep. And TJ Watt outbeat Garrett.
yes, let's go.
So Garrett might still be the lead leader in sacks. Garrett had 1. Watt had 1.5. TJ also had a fumble recovery. I mean, that was an important thing. It was kind of like TJ wanted to prove that he is better than Garrett.
Yeah.
And then on the other sack front, Hayward had half a sack. Chris Wormley had a sack, and
Nice.
Loudermilk had a sack.
But that.
So,
Nice thought.
Might
Might have been his first. I don't know.
very possible.
Yeah.
Very possible.
I can't
that was
remember if
his
he
first of the
already
year.
had one.
I think he had one, and then it got called back from a penalty,
Ah.
like a holding penalty or something like that the 1 week. So I think that might have been his first.
Okay.
So it was great to see. And who's your MVP? I'll let you go first. I won't take your guy.
I was going to say, I don't know if we're both going to take the same guy, and then we'll choose co-MVPs, because I'm totally thinking TJ, and I don't really know anybody else that I could maybe take. I can kind of think of maybe a co-MVP. I
was going to say, you take him because I got another one. So.
Okay. TJ did a great job. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about this guy. The guy's always around the ball, always finds the ball, whether it's forcing the fumble or scooping it, somehow is always around it. And just is always just that relentless guy that's going to get you the pressure. And yeah, 1.5 sacks, fumble recovery, and six total tackles. Like, dude, he just doesn't stop. And I'm sure he's going to get robbed of Defensive Player of the Year this year too. So
they'll give it to Donald again.
They'll give it to Donald or Garrett or some crap like that. So, but yeah, dude's an animal. So
absolutely no, I agree. TJ, shout out to Hayward. He's been playing lights out this year. He's been quietly great. Had another great game. He's not my MVP.
That was going to be my co-MVP, was Hayward.
Wow, okay. I'm going Schobert.
Okay, yeah.
I've dogged on him a couple of times saying that he hadn't found his way into the Steelers. He found it this game. He forced the fumble that TJ recovered, and he led the team in tackles. He had 9 total tackles, 6 of them solo, and it just seemed like, you weren't saying his name or seeing him for the wrong reasons, and he was doing what he needed to do and making the stops that he needed to make. So it was nice to see Schobert there, and so I'll give him perks. And he finally got that turnover for us that we were looking for him to do, because the ball typically found his way. Somehow, some way for the Browns and for the Jags, he found a way to turn the ball over, and he did the same thing today. So
it was good to see some activity from him at least. Special teams. I don't know, I guess, how to really sum this up without talking about coaching as well, but
right.
I guess let me
add coaching to the grade.
Yeah. Yeah, let's maybe mix it up here and add coaching to the grade. Yeah, because Boswell did kick early. That 31-yarder made it, which is good.
Yes, but I was nervous there because
it did. Whoop.
Yeah. As I think it was Tony Romo was saying, he's made like 31 straight within some, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to hear this.
Yeah, that's like knock on
and
wood.
And then I
moment.
seen it like starting to, and I was like, no.
Yeah, but it made the 31-yarder, was 3-3 at that point. We finally made a drive down in their territory, was still 3-3 at the point. Game was tied.
Almost to the 2-minute warning.
Yep, you're right. Almost to the 2-minute warning before half. We decide to do a fake field goal, which, take it for whatever you will.
Right. It was something new.
It is something new.
Browns were ready for it.
Browns were completely ready for it. I mean, it was a fake field goal pass. Boswell was trying to pass it. He's kind of just scrambling out to his right, and you can kind of see the receivers down the field. Freiermuth was just absolutely pinned, and then I don't know who else was up there. Maybe Gentry. I don't even know who else was up there. And just completely covered. And Boswell's just like, I don't know what to do. I have nowhere to throw this.
Not a quarterback.
Gets all the way to the hashes and has to finally throw it as he gets absolutely blasted and throws it, I think, just a little bit too high. I think somebody maybe got their hand on it, but was basically uncatchable. Got blasted, though. Looked like helmet to the chin strap to me.
100% helmet to the chin strap.
I don't want to just blame the guy for hitting him in the head, but it seemed like a helmet to the chin strap.
Yeah.
Boswell gets basically knocked out.
Oh, yeah, concussion. 100% concussion, out of the game.
He got a concussion. was out of the game at that point. And that was right before half. That basically changed completely how we ran our offense inside.
Had to be, because
the 40.
PH3 has never in his life attempted
collegiate
a field goal.
or NFL.
Never tried, never attempted a field goal. So he no idea.
Yeah.
And so it definitely changed how we had to play our game.
Yeah, I mean, we ended up going for 2 basically every time we were down there, or going for the 4th down conversion because of it being. I don't think they wanted to put the trust into PH3's foot,
right,
or his leg.
Yeah, which I mean I understand, and
yeah,
maybe PH3 this week will have to practice a little bit more, and they'll be like, oh man, this guy can kick, but.
Yeah.
We don't know.
No, yeah.
We literally do not know.
It's pretty tough when you get your kicker injured in a game like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that affected the game plan, and I just think that affected, like I said, we had to go for conversions, and then also PH3 had to make a kickoff, and it kicked it off out of bounds, so Browns got the start at the 40. It was just a catastrophe from trying that fake field goal, and like I told you, man, it's like you can look at it like, well, yeah, if you go for it and we get it. Well, Tomlin looks like a genius.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh yeah, Tom is awesome. We love our gutsy coach. Well, then you got people on the other side of it too. Well, why the heck did we go for it? It was 3-3, and I get both sides of it. I totally do.
Right.
It's like you can look at it like, hey, we could have got 3 points and got up 6-3 right before half in a tightly contested game, or you go for it and that's the risk you take. I don't think it really. It's very slim that it works out like that, though. Your kicker gets blasted and he's out for the game for a concussion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
More likely, you're probably used to more seeing him have to throw it away, or
gets picked or knocked down or converted.
Yeah.
Either one,
not blasted. No, I'm not gonna be on the side of take Tomlin's head off, fire him for something like that. My side and my point of it is it was 3-3. It was a tight game.
Mm-hmm.
It was right around the 2-minute warning, potentially able to get the ball back, which we did. Go up 6-3. If it goes to half at 6-3, we get the ball starting the second half.
Yep.
And so that completely changes momentum and things like that, to where I was like, to me, I was fine with the call, not the aftermath, but I also was kind of like, I would like that call at a different point in the game.
Let's just be more conservative at that point.
Maybe 4th and 1, and they're on the 25 or something like that. Try something like that. Because they were, 9 yards away? And it was 4th
close.
and goal, so it was a touchdown. So there definitely was some questions, and I get why people are mad, but I'm also not going to be like, Tomlin, cut your head off, get fired.
Yeah.
You stink as a coach kind of thing. Because we did win, but it changed everything we did, and some people may be dogging on PH3 for kicking out of bounds, but that's a whole different dynamic than what he's used to doing.
Not really his fault.
I would more rather dog on him for kicking a 38-yard, pooch.
Is that what it was?
I think it ended up being 38 or 32, but again, the play before that, he had boomed it, and I don't remember what it got called back for.
Yeah.
Maybe a block in the, I don't know.
Probably.
It was like, that's a whole nother thing after we're done giving grades.
Yeah, I was going to say not a whole lot to grade on this one. I mean, other than if you're trying to factor in that call, that injury, so on and so forth. I don't know. Maybe I'll just stick with a C.
That's what I'm going with, straight C on
C.
it. And there's really there's no MVP on special teams like we normally do, just because we lost our guy and there was people trying to do other duties and things like that. So unfortunately, there's no MVP for the special teams this week.
I don't know who you could pick,
Yeah.
It's like...
You could be like Boswell for making one field goal.
One out of the 3 was basically missing for the game.
Yeah, exactly. But there is another point that I want to bring up, and that was the refs. I know other games I've watched this year, they have done horrible. This game, and I even put it on Twitter, was probably the worst officiating game potentially this year.
It was rough.
It was, and this is not even me being biased as a Steelers fan, but this was 100% them being biased towards the Browns. They were giving all of the calls towards the Browns, with killed our drives, screwed us. I mean, one of the calls, it was an illegal formation by Chooks. And even Tony Romo was like, every offense runs it that exact same way. Every right tackle will line up like that for X amount of their plays. That's never called. They're being ticky-tacky here.
Mm-hmm.
That killed our drive. That killed our very first drive. Boswell should have been called roughing the passer. I don't care who you are. It's a helmet to your chin.
Yeah, I guess it was a roughing the passer.
You know, he was a passer. He was not a runner.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been a first down. Browns get the ball. That loses us an opportunity. Ben gets speared, which is illegal, but the guy also leaves his feet and puts his whole body weight on Bren.
Yeah, which technically by the rules is a roughing the passer.
It doesn't say if you're under 200 pounds it is, and if you're over it, well, suck it up, Buttercup.
Everyone except Ben. Ben must be in the fine print.
They threw the flag. The Browns fans just went absolutely berserk, and so the refs picked it up. But yet Baker takes a shot that's way less egregious than that, and he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very, very biased. You know, they did do a late hit out of bounds on Najee, which was great. And they didn't on Baker, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to be bad about. But they missed so many calls for us that, honestly, I was fine with them not calling that one. Like, I was at the point where I was like, you know what? Finally, it's about time they are trying to, like, at least make this somewhat level-headed. Because it seemed like TJ was getting held all day. You know, I watched, they called a hold on, I think it was Loudermilk, on Loudermilk. But Loudermilk was the one that was getting held. So the 21-yard rush for Nick Chubb stayed on the field instead of coming back. It was like, come on. And I mean, there was times when Tony Romo was like, what? Like, and you're not allowed to do that as a commentator. Like, you get fined if you do those things. And he was so like, no, like, these aren't things. That it was just so frustrating to watch because it made the game feel slow.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like, okay, another Steelers penalty. Like, you know, as soon as the flag was thrown, it was on the Steelers because they were not doing anything towards the Browns.
A 2-point conversion by Ben, too, the run.
Oh, yeah.
On the hold, like, Tony Romo pointed that one out, too. Saying he was
Ben was already crossed the plane when the hold occurred, and so it should have counted anyways, and they called it anyways. Yeah. And it was a questionable hold because he was, like, outside. Like, just because he was outside is probably why they did it. But he still had the leverage and was kind of taking the guy down anyways. Like,
yeah,
it was a lot of bogusness that, like,
definitely seemed like
this game could have been completely different. Like, we could have been up 25-10.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they wouldn't have did some of those things, and I'm sure some of them were penalties. But it was just super frustrating to watch as the refs, like, and you could tell some of the flags like that they picked up in that or threw felt very much because the Browns fans were influencing them.
Yep.
And so it was super frustrating to watch on that front.
Yep. I get it, man. I'm with you. I mean, I think we were talking during the game and just talking about these calls. We were just like, what was that? What in the world is going on?
And I mean, it's not just that game because immediately afterwards, like the Bengals, and they're in our division, so you'd think I wouldn't want to go for them. I watched them have a super questionable call that literally cost them the game because Mike Hilton made the right play, and the running back decided to go lower than him and made a helmet-to-helmet collision. So it should have been on the running back, and they called it on the defense, Mike Hilton. And they were even like, what can you do as a defender at that point? That caused the Bengals to never get the ball back and get a chance to tie or win the game. Like, the refs this year are just bad. Like, it helped us out, but at the same time, like, I'm big enough of a person to say, like, they screwed the
What's
Bengals
fair
there.
is fair, yeah.
You know?
Yep. You won't get officiating every game. Yeah, but Bengals lost, so that's great.
But now Ravens are number 1 in the division.
Yeah, I know, you're right. But hey, we're 4-3. Browns are 4-4 now after this game.
Yeah, we're number 3 in the division again.
We're 1-1 in the division because we lost to the Bengals earlier in the year. But you know, hey, you just try to win the division, see what happens from there, or just at least try to make yourself competitive in the division because this is a tough division for sure.
Very tough.
Very tough. Yep. But yeah, we escaped Cleveland with a win, and we can nitpick on the officiating and the defense a little bit here and there, or even the coaching game plan, whatever you want to say. But we still somehow won. I mean, it was a gritty football game, but they came in and did what they needed to do.
Got
the win, man. So yeah, I'm happy. And, overall, we're on a 3-game winning streak. We've got the Bears next and the Lions next. So Those are two very winnable games unless they screw something up so hardcore.
Or if we play down to our competition.
Yeah, hence, playing down.
Which the Bears looked competitive
They
today.
did, yeah.
And so if you play down to the Bears of 2 or 3 weeks ago, and, again, that's going to be more in the preview. But
right, yeah.
Just, if you decide that you're going to play down to your opponent, with how they look this week, we'll lose that game.
I was going to say, even skipping ahead to the Lions, too. It's like Lions they haven't won a game, but they've looked pretty competitive in a lot of their games.
Except for this week.
Yeah, except for this week. Like the Ravens and even the Rams game, they just came out and played solid teams pretty well. So you never know what could happen. Lions could get their first win of the season against us if we're not.
It would be the Steelers.
If we're not, it would be the Steelers' way. If we're not careful, though. So, let's just enjoy this week win.
That's when the meme for the Steelers come up with Mandalorian, and we just go, "This is the way."
Oh, yeah. seems to be the Steelers' way.
But yeah, let's just enjoy this win. We don't play till Monday night. I'll be at the game, so I'm hoping to snap that streak.
You better.
I was on an undefeated streak until the Bungalows, so.
Way to go, Shane.
I know.
You screwed this
All
up.
my
You're
fault.
never allowed to go again.
Yeah, if I go 0-2 for the year,
yeah, you're done. You're cut off.
cut off for the next 20 years.
Yep, done. But Steelers advanced to 4-3. I'm happy about this win, AFC North win, and let's keep them rolling, man.
Yep.
So, you got anything else to add for it?
No. I think I'm just ready to enjoy it here for the week.
Me too. It's always helpful when you start off the week with a win.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, thank you to everybody joining in, listening to us rant, talk about Steelers, and we will catch you on the next one. Thank you.
Let's go Steelers.
Let's go Steelers.